Awesome. 1 second. Okay. Student trustee, Bravo. Student trustee, Bravo. President Kumar.
Present.
Thank you. Vice President Ahmed. Vice President Ahmed. Thank you. Treasurer Nina Manudi.
Present.
Thank you. Chief of Staff Omen. Thank you. Chairwoman Hamad.
So Bayan has an absence.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Chairwoman El Adawi. Okay, I see Hannah, so I'll mark her as present. Chairwoman El Adawi. Okay. Chairwoman Nadala.
Present.
Thank you. Chairwoman Udaitek.
Present.
Thank you. Chairwoman Show.
Chairwoman Zhou will be absent today. She's not feeling well.
Thank you. The Speaker of the House Stancheva.
Present.
Thank you. And Representative Petineo.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Oyefeso.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Ruiz.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Nehi. Representative Jada Nehi.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Aranda Ortiz.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Taylor.
Here. Sorry, here.
Thank you. Representative Abdel Salam.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Selvaraj.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Almendras.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Bai.
Present.
B. Thank you so much. Representative Fernandez.
Present.
Representative Villa Gomez.
She will
Okay.
be absent.
Thank you so much. Representative Hack.
Present.
Thank you so much. Representative Nguyen.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Suresh.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Bilba Sigamani. Representative Sampriti Bilba Sigamani. Thank you. Representative Khan.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Malik.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Ovide.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Henry.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Chris Mann.
Present.
Thank you. Just as a reminder, if you weren't present at roll call, please just let us know in the chat or just send us a message for letting us know that you have arrived. And that concludes roll call.
Thank you. Is there anybody whose name was not called or somebody who arrived after their name has been called? Dahlia? Anybody else?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So the next order of business is reading and approval of the minutes. So please take this time to look over the minutes. Thank you, Wasan. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, then the minutes will stand as approved. The next order of business is reading and approval of the agenda. Please take this time to read over the agenda. Are there any corrections to the agenda?
Hi, yes. Could I please table Resolution 2020 F5403 until further notice?
Okay, there has been a motion to table Resolution 2020-F5-403 until further notice. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of tabling this resolution until further notice, please say aye.
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 All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, this resolution has been tabled until further notice. Are there any other changes to the agenda?
Can I make a motion to add something to the items for discussion?
Yes.
Can I add USG bonfire relations?
Okay, so you would like to make a motion to add, what was it, UIC bonfire relations?
USG and bonfire relationship.
USG and bonfire relations. Okay, so there has been a motion to add USG and bonfire relations, 2 items for discussion. Is there a second?
I second.
Has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All that oppose, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, so this item for discussion has been added. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Okay, so if not, then the agenda will stand as approved. The next order of business is public comment. Do we have any public comment today? Okay, it doesn't seem like it. So the next order of business is guest speakers, and there are no guest speakers at today's meeting. The next order of business is ex officio reports. May we please have the report of the advisor?
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a great weekend and was able to enjoy the beautiful weather in the Chicago or Chicagoland area. I took advantage of it. And I hope everyone is doing okay in regards to the election results. That took a long time with the presidential election, but finally reached the verdict. Despite which party you're on, we all still need to continue to unify ourselves as a collective within the country. Second thing I want to mention is that thank you to everyone who has submitted or informed myself and Keith about the academic eligibility forms. We are fully almost there to completion. So thank you for doing that. And lastly, I just wanted to mention that Cynthia Rosales, she will be coming to one of our USG meetings, probably the last meeting, to discuss student elections for 2021. So I just want to put that on your radar. And as always, if anyone needs any support, whether it's regarding USG or anything related, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself. I'm always available. Just send me an email and I'll be happy to assist you or provide you support in what area that may be for you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. So whenever it is time for guest speaker Cynthia to attend, do you think you could please send me an email to let me know so I can include her in the agenda?
Yes, and she emailed me trying to figure out when will be the last meeting. Do we know that this year?
Wasan, do you know the last meeting?
Yeah, the last meeting of the year should be on November 30th. that should be our meeting 11.
November 30th. Okay. I'll go ahead and let her know, and hopefully that works for her schedule, and then I'll send you an email, Daisy.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? If not, then the report of the advisor will be filed. The next order of business is officer reports. May we please have the report of the president?
Yeah, thank you, Daisy. And yeah, I hope everyone had a great weekend and was able to kind of relax after the long week of election that we had last week. But yeah, so to again just break down my report, so Representative Taylor and I finished up like the last draft of our ethnic studies resolution, and then she wrote this really nice open letter for people to sign on to. So here's like a bit.ly link to this letter. I'm gonna click this and open this just because just to like show everyone like what this is for. Essentially, like we just have this letter here, and we have like our resolution linked here, as well as a space to sign on. So if you can, I just ask that you please like help us in dissemination of this, so that we can get as many signatures as possible on this letter to continue to push for ethnic studies as a form of anti-racism for all undergraduate students. And then with regards to academics, like I was able to have a meeting with Academic Senate President Professor Donald Wink to talk about like our vision for grading policy change. And so we agreed on like several things that they're going to move forward on, just kind of a big deal, especially just given that like Provost Moser was pretty strongly against credit, no credit, or any other sort of like progressive grading system for this semester. And so essentially the two of us agreed that we needed like an extension on the credit, no credit deadline, as well as an expansion on the number and type of courses that it can be applied to. So specifically including courses like prerequisite classes, your like major requirements, so on and so forth. And then we also agreed to an extension of the withdrawal deadline. So currently, like everyone can withdraw from the entire university. You have that option until the 15th week with classes, but you cannot, you can't withdraw from an individual course. So we agreed to like propose an extension of that as well. And then another thing that I kind of wanted to tack on there was that students not having to pay to retake a class that they failed due to, of course, the pandemic and extenuating circumstances. And he kind of agreed with that as well, looking at some sort of like tuition reduction for that specific instance. And then also like looking at, he proposed removing like a failing designation. Where students like wouldn't fail, they would rather get a D for courses that they technically failed in. This would like allow students to still get like 1 credit of credit points to show that you did work, but at the same time, like you wouldn't pass, you wouldn't continue on. And then the last thing that we had talked about also was like reducing the barrier of entry for incomplete grades. So if you had like an illness or other major kind of family incident, and you had to leave UIC and then re-enroll, essentially making that process a little easier and a little smoother for people who might be going through a very tough time. So like all in all, like it was like in my opinion, like a really productive meeting. And the decisions of the Academic Senate are like pretty impactful on the like provost actions. So I think that that's actually kind of a big deal that he is like on board for all of these things. And then I guess like from here out, it's really just kind of seeing like what Provost Poser says, because she usually consults with the Academic Senate as well as her kind of council of college deans. And since both of those groups are now kind of in line with this, there's really like no way that she might be able to say no, in my opinion. And then he also wants to talk about like further alternative grading systems for the spring. Like the University of Michigan has a specific system that he wanted us to look into. So I'm definitely like open to anybody on this group, and probably like Representative Ovire as well, like working on maybe putting together something to speak with him about in the future. And then the next like really important thing is that we're hosting like our town hall for students on Thursday, November 19th at 6 p.m. This is like a space for the entire student body to attend, to ask questions and get answers. So like I just request everybody here to please attend that if you can, if you have the time and availability then. And also if you don't, like if you can't make it, to like use the Google form that we've put up on the like mass mail that went out to all students, to ask questions and to have like any sort of concerns or questions that you might have regarding really anything from COVID-19 safety to online learning to racial equity at UIC and the steps that are being taken to public safety, so on and so forth. And then the other thing that I do have is that if there's anything specific that people want me to ask, like please let me know. And then we're also like planning for a meeting with the 5 student councils and Chancellor Emeritus for November 23rd. And so if there's anything specific that you all have for me to ask the Chancellor or to discuss with any of the other members of the student councils, please let me know so that I might be able to remember that. And then Dalia and Hannah and I met to talk about like COVID-19 safety in the dorms. And then Bayan and this graduate student named Erin O'Callahan from the GEO talked about like the Title IX event that we're putting together. And then we also planned for like some work towards like eliminating the mandatory reporting system in the Title IX office and codifying some sort of like amnesty policy. So both of those things seem like really important to her. And we're definitely going to follow up to see how we might be able to work that in. So yeah, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions? So I have a question about the students should not have to pay to retake a course if they fail option. So I know that UIC's tuition payment system thingy is kind of weird. It's not based on how many credits you take. It's more so based on if you're a full-time student, part-time student, etc. So if you're a full-time student, if you take more than 12 hours, you'll pay the exact same thing. If you, whether you take 12 hours or 20 hours, you'll pay the exact same thing. So then how does that policy work exactly?
Yeah, it would essentially prevent some of the excess fees that might go into this, as well as anything else like around that specific course, whether that's like lab fees or, as you mentioned, like a tuition differential that would essentially make you pass that credit threshold. That being said, like I'm also like most skeptical of that like actually being enacted, but I'm a lot more like confident about the first two.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, if not, the report of the president will be filed. Next, we have the report of the vice president.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. So again, to start off with like the Mental Health Coalition, we developed a plan partially for like starting the triage survey. And that was, again, a survey that would be placed on like the Counseling Center website or on iAdvise for students to kind of like identify what resources would be best able to help them. So that started being formulated. And then Ms. Josephine Volpe is going to send the survey to Dean Linda Deanna and Joseph Hermes, who is the head of the Counseling Center. And then again, like working towards better understanding what telehealth resources are offered through Campus Care. And then compiling like a list of resources. So those are all still similar to last week, but like works in progress. The main update for today is that I spoke to a rep from Bonfire. And as I mentioned before, they basically said that they don't want a paid position from undergrad or student government. I think there were grants and things that they applied for last year that like they didn't end up getting the money, and there was, I think, a lot of confusion with the previous administration, so they decided just completely against that. But what we kind of agreed upon was to perhaps have someone from the Student Life Committee be a liaison between USG and Bonfire. And we can discuss this later on in the meeting, but that would essentially mean that that liaison would then be a part of Bonfire as well. And the role that they would serve is to pretty much be like a point of contact for people at Bonfire that are trying to write or gather information. And they would be like the point of contact to give them the right information regarding whatever it is that we're doing. Yeah, and then this week there's a meeting with the president of Code Red, which is previously Period at UIC, to talk about like menstrual hygiene vending machines. And then the week-long series of events regarding minorities in academia is taking place this week. I'm sure you guys have probably seen on social media, but it's like the event that's led by MAPS. So we're just helping out with that. And yeah, any questions?
Yeah, so it's not really a question, it's more like a comment. But I was planning to join the bonfire like as a writer, so I would like to maybe volunteer even though I'm not part of the committee
Mhm.
to be like the liaison.
Okay, cool. I will reach out to you, but we can talk more about that when we bring it up in the items for discussion.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? If not, the report of the Vice President will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Treasurer.
Hey guys, short report today. Just a reminder that Treasury Committee is ready to meet with anyone that has like any funding questions or concerns, or like whether you're in the brainstorming stage or about to write your resolutions. It's never like too early or too late to confirm that what you guys are planning can be done. Representatives wanting reimbursements must be enrolled in direct deposit. And all officers that are going to be receiving stipends also needs to be enrolled in direct deposit through UIC. So I've started reaching out to the commuter center, the UIC library, campus housing, and going to start brainstorming other organizations as well for like possible campus renovation collab. So maybe like for the commuter center, thinking of buying like, I don't know, like gaming system or like more TVs or something, just to make the commuter center more inclusive for everyone and have more things there. If anyone has like any ideas that for like what campus renovation projects you would like to see done, like reach out and we can definitely collaborate on that. And then any and all suggestions on how funds should be spent are obviously welcome. So
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, so if there are no more questions, then the report of the treasurer will be filed. Next, we have my report. I have a pretty short report today. So last week I sent out a survey to ask about your experience at USG. The survey is anonymous, and you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but we would really, really, really appreciate your feedback. I have seen that some people have already filled it out, which is awesome. Thank you guys. And the one thing that I ask of you guys is that if you give a lower rating, then maybe explain why you're giving that rating. Because I saw somebody give ratings of maybe like 4 or 5, and they didn't really explain what was wrong. So if you don't explain it, we don't have any way of knowing what it is and how to fix it. So it would be great if you could explain your reasoning behind some of your ratings, especially if they're lower. But nonetheless, the feedback is really, really appreciated. So thank you guys. The USG Social is tomorrow from 7 to 9 p.m. And as you guys know, Matthew and I met on campus to assemble the boxes that we sent out to you. Most of you already have the boxes. I think there's only 2 people that are still waiting on them. Don't worry, I'm keeping track of the tracking, and the package should be there soon, even though it might take a little bit longer for some of you. I know there's been some delays, um, but we will be voting on the resolution for reimbursements tonight, and we have listed all of the reimbursements, and we'll be going off of that resolution. Um, and additionally, Matthew and I just met right before this meeting to talk more about the social and some of the activities that we plan to do. So you guys are going to have a lot of fun doing that. It's going to be awesome. We're going to do Scriblio, we're going to do Among Us, and a few other fun activities. You're going to love it. So, make sure you're there tomorrow, 7 to 9 p.m. And okay, what's next? So I talked to Anshu last meeting about the financial aspect of the end of the year party, and it looks like it might be a little bit difficult to make it happen. But we can talk more about that during items for discussion. And lastly, in terms of attendance, I know there's been some issues with that. If you are late to a meeting and you arrive after roll call has already been called, it is your responsibility to let myself or Daniela know that you guys are present, because our official way of taking attendance is through roll call. And if you're not there during roll call, then we mark you as absent. So then at that point, it's up to you to let us know that you're there. And additionally, make sure that you're reading the minutes every week, because on there it says the people who are absent. So for some of you, even if you were present, it might say that you're absent, and if it does, then you have to amend the minutes the following week to correct that. Okay. So that's my report. And does anybody have any questions? Okay, so if there are no questions, then the speaker report will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Chief of Staff. Is Timothy present? Or is somebody reading Timothy's report? Okay, so if not, then we can move on to the report of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee Chair. So Bayan is not currently present, but somebody should be reading her report.
Yeah, hi, I'll be reading for Bayan. So we met, she met with Amira from Graduate Student Council to continue planning for the Know Your Rights series, still waiting on NLG to find facilitators. She met with Erin O'Callaghan and invited her to speak at Know Your Rights Title IX regulations. The event is scheduled for November 11th at 3 p.m. and we hope to see everyone there. If you could, just please spread the word about the event as much as possible. Here's a link to the flyers right here, right there. And there were more areas of collaboration we discussed with Erin, and we will continue to work with her in the future. The Conversation Hour series continues for 2 more weeks. Please spread the word, and the flyers are in the link above as well if you would like to attend. We have a meeting planned with Arab American Culture Center to discuss their MENA campaign and archive project and how UST can help them. We'll have more updates after the meeting, so next week, and the meeting is scheduled for Tuesday at 1 p.m. We are facilitating Conversation Hour for African American Culture Center on Monday, November 9th at 3 p.m. We want to meet with the Public Relations Committee to share initiatives and areas of possible collaboration. And the Diversity and Inclusion Committee is looking forward to connecting with the USG committees and discuss initiatives and collaborations within USG. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. So Bayan is not currently present, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to Bayan via email or to group me or any other way. So with that, the report of the chairwoman of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee has been filed. Next, we have the report of the Legislative Affairs Committee Chair.
Hey y'all, I don't really have much to update in regards to like actual initiatives. This week was a cool down from everything that was happening election week. I know it was stressful for a lot of people, so I hope people had rest and kind of got to wind down over this weekend. But I was in a meeting with Wasan and Hannah, as Wasan kind of stated earlier. I was also in a meeting with Hannah and Michelle for the, and Quinn for the Mental Health Coalition meeting. And then I also met with my committee. Misty has a planned event with ROTC to raise awareness for sexual assault within the military. We're still figuring out like rooms, but it should be in the morning on the 16th, 17th, next next week. Yeah, I have no semblance of time currently. But Matthew is working on survey questions for the app that he is working to develop for communications at UIC. I'm going to be talking to a few professors for the calendar initiative so that all professors would be required to upload things on the Blackboard calendar. We had a discussion last week just about feedback and how we as a committee felt about needing things to be up on the calendar. So if you have any like feedback and how you feel about posting things on the calendar or on the Blackboard calendar, or if you had like a preferred way that professors would post things, if you could DM me or Michael, that'd be great, so we can kind of have a discussion on that later on as well. Past Thanksgiving break, we'll be having no committee meetings because it'll be the last week of school, and then it'll be finals. So I'm not going to add on to the stress of that week. So there's not going to be any committee meetings. So we will have one this week and we will have one next week. And that'll be it. Updates other than that. And then my committee has all agreed that we will be meeting over the winter break. If you are interested in my committee, definitely let me know for next semester, just so that when we do have those meetings over the break, I can kind of clue you in on those if that's something that interests you. But yeah, I yield for questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? I have a little bit of a comment, Dahlia. So most of the election is done, but there is still some runoff elections in Georgia, which are really important. So I think it would be nice if you guys maybe took on promoting that or getting donations for it. If you feel like that's reasonable, that's up to you.
Sure. If you have like any specific event plannings happening, let me know and like just DM me and we can kind of chat about it and I can see what I can do. Like the week or two before hopefully everything closes in regards to that election. But also I am going to be in a meeting with Nikki from SLCE on Wednesday. So she also may have something planned and I'll let you know.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? If not, the report of the chairwoman of the Legislative Affairs Committee will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Public Relations Committee Chair.
Hi, I don't have much to report on. I'm grading flyers for events that some members from USG have asked me to do. I met with PRC today, and then we talked about a lot of things like we're doing weekly surveys on the Instagram to increase our engagement. Yes. And then the website, Sarah has created a get to know me form to make your USG profiles more personalized. We will be sending out that link soon. And then as of now, that's all to report.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? If not, the report of the chairwoman of the Public Relations Committee will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Student Affairs Committee Chair.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. This is going to be a quick report. So first things first, I had my weekly committee meeting. We did a check-in with everyone just to see how everyone is feeling. We spoke on topics surrounding the election. We debriefed as well as voiced our thoughts about the election and what was going on at the time. Our meeting was on Friday, if you guys don't know. So we didn't know who the president was or the president-elect was just yet. We also worked on next steps for initiatives. So that includes trying to figure out who's the next person to contact. That includes my deputy chair, Tega. She's going to be reaching out to Aitana soon, if she hasn't already, to work on some graphics and some interactive content for the USG Instagram page. So that's what's going on with my committee. I also want to acknowledge the tragic accident that happened on campus in regards to Tushar. I want to voice my condolences and to say that I'm praying for Tushar's family and loved ones. I'm also praying for the other student who is currently recovering. I'm wishing them a speedy and painless recovery if possible. If anyone wants to speak or like voice their thought, I know UIC does offer counseling services, but if you would like more resources, please let me know and I'll send them your way. I know that UIC Counseling Center doesn't really service all students in the way that students need to be served. So please let me know if you need some more resources because I do have some. And finally, I just want to say, I hope you guys are please just staying safe and make sure that you're taking care of yourself and your mental health, especially with the election and it's finally over and well finally over, but we have some runoff, so we still have to see where things go. This has been an incredibly hard year for a lot of people, myself included, but I just want to say that we are going to get through it and I'm praying for everyone, and I will yield for questions.
Thank you, Marian. Are there any questions? Okay, if not, then the report of the chairwoman of the Student Affairs Committee will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Campus Life Committee Chair. So Michelle is currently not present, but is anybody reading her report?
Yep, I am. Hello. She didn't have a formal report, but she just said that she's still working on everything that she was working on last week. So the how to ask for help workshop, student surveys, and drafting an honor code. We're also working on that, and that she's sorry she can't be here, but that's pretty much it.
Thank you. So with that, the report of the chairwoman of Campus Life Committee will be filed. The next order of business is old business. So first we have resolution 2020-F, oh no, that's tabled, 2020-F8-904. And actually, Wasan, do you think you could let me screen share this one? So the old resolution from last week, as you guys know, doesn't have any specific dates or specific rather costs. But for this resolution, I would like to amend it so that it has all of the costs on there. It has a bunch of receipts on there that we added. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay. Are you seeing this? You guys seeing this resolution?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So it has added all of these costs that we spent to be a lot more specific on the money that we spent, and it also has all of these receipts. And meanwhile, the resolution from last week does not have that. So I would like to motion to change or to read the amended version of Resolution 2020-F8-904. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of reading the amended version of this resolution, please say aye.
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 Other opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, the ayes have it. So we can read this amended resolution. Resolution 2020-F8-904, USG Social Reimbursement Request. Chief Sponsor, Speaker of the House, Daisy Sancheva, Co-Sponsor, Interim Speaker, Matthew Mendres. Whereas the Speaker and Interim Speaker are working on the USG Social, and whereas due to the current pandemic, USG is unable to hold in-person events like in previous years, and whereas in the past, USG has spent hundreds of dollars for each USG Social for room, food, and other costs, then let it be resolved that this semester USG shall utilize some of its funds towards buying and shipping packages to USG members as a socially distanced version of the USG Social. And Let it be further resolved that in order to prevent delays in shipping, the speaker and interim speaker shall buy the needed items and be reimbursed for the costs. And let it be further resolved that interim speaker Matthew Almendras bought the following items: Funhouse candy for $13.99, Frito-Lay chips. I'm not going to read the cost, but this is what we should be looking at. So Matthew got the Funhouse candy, Frito-Lay chips, Rice Krispies, the tax for these items, and he also got the Capri Sun, and the total cost was $48.05. Let it be further resolved that Speaker Daisy Sancheva bought the following items, and there are a bunch of them are repeats. Plastic bag for 10 cents, Lifesaver, Skittles, what's the last one? Starburst candy for $7.34. Snicker bar, two of them. Mini chocolate bar, six of them, and one of them is back down here. And I'm doing it based off how they scanned it on the receipt. Cream filled chocolate bars, three of them. Tax for all that. I also went to Michael's. I got some Scotch tape for packaging, paper shreds of two different colors, red and white, as you guys know. And the tax for Michael's. Bubble wrap, which I could not find at Michael's, so that was from Staples, and the tax for that, and the shipping labels, which was the biggest cost of $137. And then additional shipping label because there was an issue with the shipping labels. And for some reason, one person's shipping label did not go with the rest of them, so I had to buy it separately. And the total cost is $207.26. Let it be further resolved that Speaker Daisy Sancho shall be reimbursed a total cost of $207.26, and Interim Speaker Matthew Almendras shall be reimbursed the total cost of $48.05. And then down below, you guys can see the receipts. So this is from this. The first two are Matthew's receipts. This one with the chips and Rice Krispies, and then the second one, just this highlighted part, is the Capri Sun. And then these are mine from all the stuff that I mentioned. And this one from Michael's, as well as the one from Staples, and from Private Ship, which is where I bought the shipping labels from because it's much cheaper than USPS. And 26 out of these labels ended up costing me this much money. And the last one for Abigail, which for some reason, I'm sorry, Abigail, but it did not print with the other ones, so we had to buy yours separately. So yeah, this is the updated resolution. Does anyone have any comments or questions about this?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I think that the boxes were really cool. Like, I really enjoyed getting mine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We had a lot of fun making them too.
Yeah, I was just about to comment. Thank you very much. This was awesome.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad you guys enjoyed them. We stuffed them with stuff. Like, we put so many stuff in there.
It was like Christmas all over again. Like, honestly.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Any other comments, questions, amendments, anything? Okay, so if not, then we can vote for this. So all those in favor of Resolution 2020-F8-904, please say aye.
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 Okay, I didn't hear that many people. Let's do that again. Make sure you guys are actually voting this time. All those in favor of Resolution 2020-F8-904, please say aye.
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 Okay, that's better. All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, so this resolution has passed. Thank you guys so much for passing this for us and not having it come out of our own pocket. We really appreciate that. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing now. Okay, so what's next? Next we have, the next order of business is new business, but there is no new business as of right now. The next order of business is items for discussion. first, we have the USG Social. So Matthew, would you like to talk more about it?
Yes, so yeah, DSG Social is tomorrow from 7 to 9 p.m. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So I hope everyone can make it. And yes, you guys can finally start eating your your food at the social. So if you haven't already eaten it.
Okay. Thank you. Awesome. I'm really excited for the social, by the way. I really hope you guys join us. So the next item for discussion is the end of the year party. And this one I did meet with Anshu last meeting towards the end, and we talked more about what we can do. And Anshu mentioned that it might not be the best idea to use Uber Eats because I'm not too sure why. But Anshu, do you think you could explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think I like the reasoning I gave was because it was just going to be like a logistical nightmare trying to like order Uber Eats for everyone, and then like I think everyone would need the app and like have to order it to their address, or someone would have to. It would just be a logistical nightmare basically.
Okay, thank you for explaining. So does anybody have any ideas for what we can do instead of that to make it a little bit more easier for us to take care of the logistics as well?
Do you think that we could order to SCE and set up like put out a when to meet to see what block of time people are most available in to come pick it up?
That's definitely a good idea. But the issue I think would be that not everybody is in Chicago. I think about half of our members are in Chicago right now, which would be fine for them probably. But there is a bunch of people in the suburbs and other areas. So that's something that I see as an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As I
regarding
said
that, I
that, I
think like
realized
the
I would
reimbursement
also
route would work too.
be in a different state.
Wait, hold on. Can you guys repeat?
Yeah, I was gonna say that they could buy their own stuff maybe, and we could reimburse it.
Okay. What do you guys think about that?
Maybe if we give everyone a budget, like on what they're allowed to spend, and then have everyone like just get to their preference, and then that budget only will be like reimbursed.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I actually just want to really quickly like defer to our advisors to just ask if that might be something that we might be able to do in terms of like the reimbursement aspect of it. Oh, maybe they didn't hear me. I was just wondering, like, Dean Alice or Dre, if either of you might know specifically if we might be able to do something like that, or if that would be like okay for like through DOS, specifically like with reimbursing everyone essentially for whatever within the budget that they purchased for food for the event.
Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. But the reality is, you get 20, 25 members who are all going to have to submit paperwork to be reimbursed, which does create a significant burden on our business admin who's only in the office once every 12 days. So, your timing to get things reimbursed is going to be much longer because, if your paperwork's probably not in the day that she's in the office, then it's going to be another 12 days before she can get back to it. So I wouldn't recommend it, but it is certainly something you could pursue if it's an absolute must.
Okay, thank you. So in that case, is there anything that we could do to make sure that we still get some food to the members. But how can we go about that?
I was thinking, what if we send like ingredients for us to cook at home, and then we can I don't know, do something like that, and then we can like show like what food we made, or like who made it the best, something like that.
Well, that sounds really cool. I remember there was like Mora Kitchen. I think SAB did it earlier in the semester, where they partnered with Mora Kitchen, and then you sign up, and then they send in ingredients from their kitchen, and then you guys cook together during a live.
That's such a cool idea. Thank you, Matthew, for bringing that up. It looks like in the chat box, everybody's interested in making cookies. So in that case, would it be better to maybe um, buy the ingredients for cookies and then just distribute the ingredients? Like I would be okay with getting that to members in the suburbs, and if anybody is interested in maybe taking them to members in downtown in Chicago, I think that would be a good idea. But what do you guys think?
There could be like the same type of care package thing deal going on. You know how people do like the jars of cookie ingredients, and then like you just like put the jar and then you mix it, like baby shower giveaway type of thing. You know?
I'm not too sure what you're talking about, to be honest.
It's like it's just flour and sugar and like everything.
Okay, we can definitely look into that. Thank you, guys. Thank you for bringing that up. That's exciting. Are there any other ideas for the end of the year party? Should we still do a Secret Santa? If you guys are still interested, we could definitely do that. Would you like to cap it at $10, $15, or $20? Any ideas?
I still think Secret Santa seems kind of hard to pull off. Just because just like the part of like getting people gifts. I don't know if you think we would be able to like mail those or something, or just like drop them off at the USG office and have people pick them up at different times.
Yeah, I think it definitely would be interesting to do that. Um, so for shipping, depending on how big depending on how much it weighs, like a box of shipping could be maybe between $3 and like $7. So like the less your item weighs, the cheaper it's gonna be. Or if you want, you can drop it off yourself. That would also be fine. For the USG office idea, that would work in downtown. It would not work for people in the suburbs, though. Yeah. But what do you guys think? Would you still like to do Secret Santa?
I don't think it's feasible right now for everyone. I just feel like it's gonna be a lot at the end of the year, so I don't think it's gonna work out as easy as we would like it to. As
Okay, thank you. Any other thoughts?
I would just say really quick, could there potentially be something that we do with like, I would say like a gift card or something like that. Would it be better if we did that rather than like actually have people with food? Because depending on how far people are, there may not be locations that they deliver to for the like cooking together live stream. But I think that's just something that like logistically we would have to look into. I'm just thinking we could always do like, because even if it's like a Starbucks like gift card, if they get those, it can stay on their account for however long. And then let's say they only use it when they're in Chicago. So when they get back into Chicago, they can use it.
Would that be for the buying stuff and sending them out to members? Because I honestly, like,
Yeah,
I'm
that
not too sure. Ashu, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if we're allowed to ship out or gift out gift cards.
I know we can't give them out like to non-members. I'm not sure what the rules are regarding members.
Gift cards are viewed to be similar as giving out cash to people, and the state frowns upon giving cash to people.
Okay, so that's a no. Thank you.
Never mind then, I guess.
No, it was a good idea. It was a good idea. Just unfortunately, we're not able to execute it. Um, but so in that case, are you guys okay with the cookie and cookie jar stuff?
Yeah. Also, I have another idea. Maybe like we can still do like Secret Santa, but like we don't have to give a gift. Maybe we can just like write a card. Maybe include like a drawing, and then the person has to guess what it is. Make it interactive.
It's actually a really good idea. I really like that because it assures that people don't spend that much money. And actually, if you were to send a letter, if you send a letter within the US, it only costs like one stamp, which is some 50 cents. And if you send a letter internationally, it's only three stamps. Or like about it's like about $1.20. So I think that would be affordable for most of us. Little a really cute gift. So what do you guys think about that?
Actually, sending like anything internationally with like a letter, I think is much more like expensive than that. Like, it wasn't just two stamps.
So that's the case if it's a package, but if it's a letter, like letter with like paper in it, if it's less than 1 ounce, which most letters are, it's only $1.20. And I know because I've sent international letters. But does anyone like? What do you guys think about that? Would you like to send cards?
I'd be down for that. I like that idea.
Yeah, I think that's like a super cute idea. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I just saw the cookie jar. I really like that. We can definitely do that if you guys would be down to have like a virtual end of the year party, and we can potentially either um, maybe like start making the cookies together, something like that, or we've already made them and now we're rating them. The person with the most with the best reviews gets like a prize or something. What do you guys think about that?
I was thinking of like doing a contest, but the only problem is we can't taste each other's cookies. So we can
Valid.
decorate, but that would be the only problem.
Yeah, we could do a best decoration
I
or
like
best
that.
design.
Okay. So would you be down for that? Would the rest of you guys be down for that?
Yeah, I like that idea.
Okay. All right. So we'll look more into it and get back to you next week. So for our last item for discussion, let's see. We have the USG and bonfire relations. So Hannah, would you like to talk more about this?
Yeah. So I just wanted to get your opinions on it, but basically the idea would be that there's someone from the student life committee, but obviously if there's anyone else interested, like Matthew, have one person identified as the liaison, and then they can also be a part of bonfire. And then we would just have to decide if we want to make that a position that exists from like year to year, and we pick someone specific to fill that role. We can do that. We also have to kind of figure out because it's from both parties. So you would have to figure out kind of how Bonfire wanted to get whoever the liaison is, and so that they
Wait, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I think Hannah, you cut out.
She did.
Yeah, she did.
Oh,
Yeah, same for me.
I will text her.
In the meantime, can someone explain what Bonfire is exactly?
I can do that. So Bonfire is the independent student newsletter, and basically they are they are independent from UIC, meaning that they can criticize the administration openly without anybody telling them not to, because they're not with the university. And the bonfire was actually an initiative that was done by the former president and vice president last year. They worked very closely with the bonfire, and they did fund some parts of it. But yeah, it's just pretty much an independent newsletter.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a question. So, what exactly would be the role of a USG liaison to Bonfire?
So it should be, sorry, my internet cut out for like a minute, so I didn't really hear what anyone said previously. But essentially what they would do is they're the point person for Bonfire to ask questions about what's going on. So say there was someone that was interested in writing an article about how we pass resolutions. So then the liaison would be responsible for collecting the right information or answering whatever questions that writer from Bonfire had. Or like say they had a question about a specific initiative. Like when I was speaking to her, she had heard about the resolution that Lawson was talking about with like regards to the ethnic studies general education requirements. So if a writer has specific questions about that, then the liaison would again be the point person to kind of give them the right information, give them the technicalities of like what we're working on. And it's basically so that there is more transparency between the two organizations. And also there is like a double role. Like obviously USG would get more exposure if Bonfire has a really good relationship with us. And our efforts would get a lot more exposure. That way, like a lot of the resolutions that we pass don't kind of go unnoticed. And I don't mean that in terms of like getting credit for them, but rather people know then that there is some kind of pull that student government has, and there is some kind of accountability for the things that we pass, and there is a place for students to voice their concerns. And then it would also help Bonfire have a sustainable like leadership from year to year.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea because, as I mentioned, I was planning to join as a writer, and I was actually thinking of doing all that stuff like promote USG as a way to um promote it to the student bodies. I think it's a great idea.
What do you guys think about making it something like permanent from year to year, where we have representatives apply for that position specifically or elect someone after we have our body decided?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think just like how we have like deputy positions, it would be pretty easy to add that in as something as well that someone could do if they're interested in that specific line of work.
So I actually don't know how I personally feel about that. It's a good idea for sure. It can definitely be something that we encourage, but I don't think it should be something that we have as a position and necessarily try to push people into that position, because if they're not interested, then they're not going to foster a good relationship. So I think it should be encouraged, um, but I don't think it should be official. Like I don't think that position should be in the bylaws or anything like that.
Would it would it be possible to have it in the bylaws as a possibility, not a necessity? So like, it's a recognized position in the undergraduate student government, but it's not necessary for it to be filled every single year if no one wants to do it.
Yes, we can definitely do that. We can definitely say that this is a position that is encouraged but not required. Definitely, we can definitely do that.
That sounds like a good compromise because I also do want it to be like sustainable and not just something that we set up this year and then following administrations kind of like let it go. Because I think it can be a very powerful partnership. But yeah, I think that takes care of both like the sustainability aspect of it and then also not forcing it out of anyone because it is something that I think would take a decent amount of time and commitment.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. So in that case, Hannah, would you like to make a resolution for next week so that we can include that in the bylaws?
Yeah, I can do that.
Awesome. And let me know if you have any questions or need help with anything.
Would it also be possible for the position to be like an ex officio position?
I don't think so because it's not necessarily an e-board of the USG. It will be kind of like a deputy chair position where you guys are still in that position but not necessarily into the executive board. Because it doesn't do like any USG executive board stuff, it's mostly like the connection between the two. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
So Daisy, does that mean that that person would be presenting his or her report in the officer reports?
I'm not too sure. That's a good question.
I think it could be something, so if it's part of the student life committee, then, or sorry, the student affairs committee, then it would be the responsibility of whoever's the committee chair of that committee to mention whether or not that week there was any updates regarding that. And then if they want to give part of their speaking time to the liaison, then that should be okay.
I agree. Are there any other comments or questions on this topic? Okay, so if not, we can move on to the next order of business, which is announcements. Does anybody have any announcements?
Oh yeah, sure. Can I make an announcement?
Go for it.
Yeah, so for this organization I'm a part of, it's called Midlife. We're running like a fundraiser for Move the Mountains campaign. It's like for it's it's like a fundraiser. We're giving out like coupons for Krispy Kreme. They're like $10, and then you can go pick them up, and all the money will go to our campaign Move the Mountains, which is helping third world countries and stuff. Like if you like buying one coupon, we'll be able to feed a family for like a whole week. So if you're interested in like donating to that fundraiser, please contact me. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on this? Any other announcements? Please attend the USG social tomorrow. Matthew worked really hard on it, and we would really love to have you there. We're going to have music and games and stuff, and you guys have the snacks, so it's going to be awesome. Okay, so are there any last announcements before we move on? Okay, so if not, the next order of business is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn.
Okay, it has been moved to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, has been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Where's everybody? All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, please say aye.
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 That's better. All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, this meeting is now adjourned at 7:16 p.m.